You've probably heard people say that the relationship between an INFJ and an ENFP is one of the most beautiful, almost magical connections in the MBTI world. But what actually makes it so special? Why do these two seem to understand each other in ways that others simply can't? And is it really as perfect as everyone says? Let's talk about it. Before we dive in, let's clarify INFJ and ENFP. Before we go deep, let's quickly explain what these two types even are, so everyone's on the same page. INFJ stands for introverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. These people are the old souls of the world, calm, reflective, deep thinkers, always searching for meaning behind everything. ENFP stands for extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and perceiving. They're the dreamers who light up the room, full of energy, curiosity, and imagination. Simplified, INFJs dwell in inner meaning, while ENFPs inhabit a realm of outer possibilities. INFJs seek purpose inwardly. ENFPs find inspiration outwardly. Now imagine what happens when these two meet. The INFJ is quietly observing from the corner, lost in thought, and suddenly the ENFP bursts into the scene with a big, warm smile, throwing ideas into the air like fireworks. Somehow, instead of clashing, they connect. They see something in each other that feels strangely familiar, like meeting someone who speaks a language you didn't know anyone else could understand. Here's the interesting part. Both are intuitive and feeling types. They both care deeply about people, about emotions, about what's beneath the surface, but they express it differently. The ENFP explores it out loud, through words, laughter, adventures, new experiences. The INFJ explores it quietly through reflection, deep conversations, inner patterns. They're different sides of the same coin. Have you ever had a conversation where you felt completely seen, like the other person could finish your sentences? That's what often happens when these two start talking. Their minds connect at a level that goes beyond small talk. It's not about how was your day. It's about what do you think life is trying to teach us right now? It's like mental chemistry. Psychologists and MBTI researchers often describe INFJ and ENFP relationships as one of the most compatible pairings. Both are idealists, both long for something more, for purpose, for emotional depth, for growth. A study from Truity once mentioned that this relationship has great potential for close and caring connection, because they naturally share the same wavelength about values and meaning. And when you think about it, it makes sense. These two rarely find people who match their emotional depth, so when they finally do, they hold on tight. Let me tell you a little story. Anna, an ENFP, met Robin, an INFJ, at a creative writing workshop. Anna came with a dozen ideas bouncing in her head. She was talking about stories, projects, and adventures she wanted to start. Robin sat quietly at the corner, listening, analyzing, and taking notes about the meaning behind every story. When the group took a break, Anna walked over and said, "Do you ever wonder why we write at all?" Robin looked up and said softly, "Maybe to remember who we really are." They talked for hours, and in that single conversation, something clicked. That rare electric kind of connection where both people just get it. But of course, it's not all perfect. Just because two people understand each other deeply doesn't mean they don't clash. The very things that attract them can also create tension later on. The ENFP thrives on freedom. They love to explore, to stay flexible, to chase new ideas. The INFJ, on the other hand, finds comfort in structure, in clarity, and following through. So what happens? The ENFP says, "Let's just go with the flow." And the INFJ replies, "But we need a plan." Another big difference? Energy. The ENFP's social energy seems endless. They want to talk, to meet people, to experience the world. The INFJ, being introverted, needs time alone to recharge. It's not that they don't enjoy people, they just burn out faster. So the ENFP might say, "Let's go out again tonight." And the INFJ quietly thinks, "I just need silence." If they don't understand each other's rhythm, it can turn into frustration. Here's a fun question. Have you ever been in a relationship where you wanted to go out and your partner wanted to stay home? You probably know how small things like that can turn into big emotional misunderstandings. That's exactly the trap these two can fall into if they're not mindful. There's also something else. Both are idealists. They dream big. They see potential in everything, in people, in love in the future. But reality doesn't always match their imagination. Sometimes they set the bar so high that when normal life feels normal, it can feel like a disappointment. And because both are emotionally sensitive, those disappointments cut deep. But when they talk it through, when they communicate openly, that same emotional depth becomes their superpower. Here's the thing. What truly makes INFJ and ENFP relationships special is not that they're easy, but that they're transformative. The ENFP teaches the INFJ how to live in the moment, to play, to laugh, to take risks. The INFJ teaches the ENFP how to slow down, how to focus, how to find meaning in the chaos. They grow together, they balance each other. An INFJ once described their ENFP partner like this: they're like sunlight in human form. Chaotic, radiant, sometimes overwhelming, but warm in a way that makes you want to grow. And the NFP said about their INFJ partner, they're like still water. You can see your reflection in them and they make you want to be more honest with yourself. Isn't that beautiful? According to some personality researchers, ENFPs use extroverted intuition. They love exploring ideas outwardly. INFJs use introverted intuition. They explore meaning inwardly. So when they meet, it's like one brings color to the other's world, and the other brings focus to the chaos. Together, they form a complete perspective, a world of both imagination and insight. But again, let's not pretend it's all harmony. The ENFP might sometimes feel that the INFJ is too serious, too reserved, too slow to open up. The INFJ might sometimes feel that the NFP is too scattered, too loud, too unpredictable. It takes patience and empathy to meet in the middle. So what makes it work long-term? Communication, space, understanding. The ENFP has to realize that the INFJ's silence isn't rejection, it's recovery. And the INFJ has to understand that the ENFP's constant talking isn't noise. It's connection. Both have to learn to translate each other's emotional language. When that happens, when they finally figure it out, the relationship becomes something truly rare. They don't just date, they grow each other. The ENFP pulls the INFJ into the light. The INFJ grounds the NFP in depth. Together, they create a rhythm, part laughter, part silence. Let's get real for a second. No pairing is perfect. Every relationship has friction. But what's interesting about INFJ and ENFP is that the friction itself becomes fuel for growth. Because both are emotional processors. They want to understand, they want to heal. So when they fight, they reflect, they learn, and often they come back stronger. Think of it like this. The ENFP is the spark, and the INFJ is the flame keeper. One ignites, the other sustains. When they work together, it's steady and bright. And there's something poetic about this dynamic, too. The NFP's world is filled with endless possibilities. Everything is alive, everything can change. The INFJ's world is filled with patterns and purpose, like everything happens for a reason. So when they combine, they create a balance between chaos and meaning, between excitement and peace. But you might wonder, if they're so good together, why do some INFJ-ENFP relationships fail? Good question. It usually comes down to timing and maturity. When one or both partners haven't yet learned how to manage their emotions, it can get messy. The ENFP's spontaneity can look like recklessness. The INFJ's depth can feel like emotional distance. But when both grow, when both learn to communicate, that same pairing becomes unstoppable. Here's a truth that often surprises people. This pairing isn't built on similarity, it's built on balance. They don't complete each other in the cheesy movie way. They challenge each other to become better versions of themselves. The ENFP pushes the INFJ to open up. The INFJ helps the ENFP to slow down and see the bigger picture. Psychologists who study MBTI